Okay, I had so many things opened that I didn't know what was happening, where the sound was coming from. So I guess I was live on something and now I'm not. So again, welcome to Empowered Educators with Ronnette Branham. We are where our motto is empowering teachers to inspire, lead, and thrive. And that's what we want to do. We want to inspire our teachers to keep on moving. We want to discuss leading and thriving. So here we are with this today's episode, and we are going to be discussing what are we going to be discussing? A motivation. We're going to be discussing motivation for our teachers. Inspiring. What do we have? Inspiring words because we have so much going for us that we sometimes we forget. We forget that we are here doing a great work. Sometimes we don't know that we're doing a great work. So we could just talk about that today. I just want people to understand that what you're doing is having a lasting impact. It's definitely having a lasting impact on our students. So it's important for us to stay motivated, stay inspired, as educators, even during challenging times. Sometimes our times are challenging and we still have to keep on going. We have to be inspired just simply because this is our job. And things happen. We have different challenges, and we even want to talk about those challenges, how they can be opportunities. So that is something that we could just keep it moving on. Don't have to worry about if or when something happens. Let's flip that around and cause it to be an opportunity. Not every challenge is unsolvable. If it's a problem, it's solvable. Every problem is solvable unless it's just a fact, a state of being. This is how it is, and you can't change it. I heard someone say this morning, actually, it was a quote from Elon Musk, but it was a quote about he can do anything as long. The question is, before he embarks on a new challenge, he says, does it defy defy oh my god, that it's like physics, the laws of physics. There it is. Does it defy the laws of physics, or is it something? If it doesn't defy the laws of physics, then it's something that can be answered. There's a solution to it. There's a solution to every problem. I said that last week or the week before prior, that nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. That every problem has a solution. Every problem is solvable, and everything is learnable. If somebody else learned it, you can learn it too. Everybody has just about the same basic brain capacity in general. We're generally, speaking generally, but we do. So we want to stay motivated because this is our job. And then as we are motivated, our students can feel that. So just understand that we shape the futures of our students. I know if you go back and you think about, like I think about, people ask me all the time, why did you become a teacher? Who was that teacher that caused you to be a teacher? I don't have that. If I do, I don't remember, right? So this is where that comes from, that lasting impact. People have lasting impacts on it, and daily, we have things that happen daily, right? And they make a lasting impact. The students may not even remember you, but you taught them math, you taught them how to add, you taught them how to subtract, you taught them multiplication, you taught them trigonometry, calculus. So they may not remember you per se, but you made a lasting impact. You taught them how to read. They didn't know their letters. Somebody taught them that. You made a lasting impact. So that's something, if we go sit back and think about the impact we have, sometimes we think like we're not doing anything. We're not making any progress. But I promise you, we are making progress with our students. If you go back and look and you think about it, for real, everything you learned. Everything you know, you learned. You learned from somewhere. You may not remember who taught you, but you learned it somewhere. So we are making a lasting impact. We are shaping the futures of our students. We're shaping individual people's futures. So that's something to be proud of. That's something to look up and you like, I see the light. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's something that we need to work on remembering. That's not even, I don't know how to say that. We need to work on remembering that, because sometimes we forget and we're like, this is so frustrating. We have these things happening in our lives, things coming up daily, different challenges, So remember that you are planting seeds that will grow over time. You know, when you plant a seed, it doesn't grow right away. You have to keep going back, looking at it. You have to water that seed. I'm teaching, I want to teach my students how to add 3-digit numbers with regrouping, right? First, they need to know their numbers, right? So you're like, okay, they can add because they know their numbers. They can add 3-digit numbers. They can't. You have to water that seed, teach them their numbers, and teach them how to add those individual numbers. Teach them how to add items, have different manipulatives to add these things, right? Subtract, take away. I remember I was taught when I was teaching preschool that subtraction is easier than addition because you have all the whole of the group together and then you take some out, take some away. So it's easier, but you added on that, I had a student to recently. He didn't know his numbers. He may know them in Spanish, but in English he doesn't. So he couldn't know them, and he just didn't say them to me. So that could have happened, but he didn't. He didn't say them. So I just know that there are seeds that are growing. So not every time that you teach something, will the students will the students know it, get it, grab it. You have to keep adding to it. That's called planting seeds and watering the seeds and watching it grow. So I thought about today. It was. I'm gonna say this is like a challenge that I had, and then I'm gonna say the small wins. I'm going to discuss my small wins. So today I had a class and we were doing math, and they were just looking. They weren't paying attention. I had to put on a video. So the video was the lesson. It's part of our math program. So the video is the lesson, right? So within this lesson, I put it on and they were not paying attention. Half of them didn't understand it, right? So they were not paying attention. And I'm like, come on, I need you to pay attention because you're going to have to do this work. So this is the lesson, teach you what you need to do. So I was kind of frustrated. Then I just let it finish. And then I discussed it. We went over a few. And then what they were teaching, it was like, nah, you're not ready for that. They could have been, but they weren't ready for it that way because it's English, right? And so the way they broke it down. So I was like, let's just continue the way we've been doing with the math. Adding and subtracting, using the cubes or adding with, drawings or whatever. So I was trying to test some people. And so I had to let them do their work. And I saw some people talking. Of course, I have to remember that they're talking, probably explaining things to each other, explaining, what do you call it? Interpreting, from Spanish to English, translating Spanish to English, all that stuff, right? So I don't know if that was what it was, but I pull out these little erasers. They're different kind of puzzle erasers. Okay, so I pull it out and I call this table, come over here, let me check your work. What are you doing? How far did you get? Because they're talking. One person at this table had almost everything done. Oh man, I gave him an eraser, right? Then the next table I get, and they're coming over there with their work. And a lot of it is done. And I said, oh, so then I'm giving out more erasers. Then I'm like, the next table and next table. So I'm thinking like, wait, I did not prepare to give all these prize is out. I thought there was only a few people who were actually doing the work. So then so many people got the prizes. So I'm like, oh wait, I have to look around first before I start thinking of this, because then I have no prizes left. They're like little puzzle erasers. So that was a small win today, because I was thinking they didn't understand. They couldn't understand what the directions were. They couldn't understand the lesson. And then when it got time to do the work, they were actually doing it. So I take that win, even though they didn't seem to be paying attention because they didn't understand the language. So some did, some didn't. So then when they got ready to do the work, I'm like, okay, I'm so happy. I was so happy because so many students were doing it. The people who actually did it, they didn't understand. They don't know how to add, so, or subtract. So that was a small win. And we have to be able to um we have to be able to celebrate small wins. We're getting frustrated at this big stuff that we think is happening or not happening, but there's little things happening along the way. So that is something that we should embrace and celebrate it and be happy. And your students can tell the energy that you have, when you're working. So also, when we get to challenges, let's think of our challenges as opportunities, because if you have a challenge, again, like I said, every problem has a solution. Every problem is solvable. There's a solution for every problem. So when we have a challenge, just say it's language. I could keep going back to that, because that's what I teach, the language, and I teach there's a language barrier. So um that means I can sit down with a few people, or we can translate together. you know I say hat, what do you say? You say gordo, if that's how you say it, right? If I say water, how do you say this in Spanish? So that's an opportunity for us to embrace each other's differences in language and learn each other's language at the same time. So that is like, don't be so upset about having, these challenges. We have challenging students, we have challenging, I know I can talk over and over about students that I had that were a challenge, but it was an opportunity for me to learn those students. So that's just something that I want to everybody to embrace, the fact that we have opportunities embedded in those challenges. Like just now, I had a challenge. I had an echo from somewhere. That was the opportunity for me to double check and look and see what's happening on my computer, because I have two screens happening at the same time. I couldn't find it at first. And then when I clicked a little bit, I saw, okay, there it is, open. So there's things that we can work on as opportunities for growth, when we're working with our students and to understand they can't grasp the concepts. So what do we do? Is that's a challenge, but it's an opportunity at the same time, opportunity for our growth and theirs. So let's get down, buckle down, and see how we can remedy the situation. How can we get our students to learn? This is an opportunity for us to find new strategies, other strategies uh, that will be more effective for these lessons. Students don't understand. So just this morning I had a story that I had to read. Okay, not every student understands English. They should, because they shouldn't. Because I have some who just came from another country. So that is Spanish speaking country. But at the same time, we have other students who don't have that rich of a English vocabulary. They don't have a great grasp on it. So I had to read a story, and it was about a bear who was curious about a woman who was reading a book. She had a cabin in the forest. So we broke it down and we talked about it little by little. I used the Spanish words and we translated it and said, okay, so what is this? Like somebody said there was people sitting in a chair. It's not people, it's person. So that was opportunity for me to let them know plural versus singular. So that was just an opportunity. Every challenge, the language barrier was a problem, but it was an opportunity to keep that thing moving, So one more thing, let me see. Sorry about that. Okay, and also, as an educator, we are creating safe spaces for our students. Our students are safe to know that they can ask questions. They could be wrong, they could be right, and it's a safe place to be that. I make mistakes all the time. I had issues. I had so many technical issues today where it didn't make sense. Like, oh my goodness, I didn't have sound. That was a safe place for me to pause and say, wait, let me go get my speaker, put it up against the computer, and play it, right? So that they could hear it. It was, challenges with some uh programs that I needed to test with. It was challenge. So that was the opportunity for me to read with several students at the same time, 4 or 5 at the same time, and see if we could read, who could read, and I check off who could read these little books. Some surpassed it, and I was like, oh, that's great. So I know when I get ready to test them where I can start, so that was a great opportunity, because I could have said, I can't do anything. I can't do this. So instead, I found the opportunity that presented itself, and that was to have a small group real quick. The other students were already working on something. They were already sitting quietly at their desk reading or whatever they were doing. And I was able to do that. Also, to stay motivated. I know before we had another one about inspiration and all of that. This is a little bit different, because something inspires you, it causes you to want to do something. But the motivation is, I don't feel like doing, even though I'm inspired, I want to do this. This is the thing that I want to do. But right now, I don't feel like doing it. So this is something that gives us that boost to say, I can go on another day. I can keep it moving another day. So right now, we can talk about remembering our why. Why are we teaching? Why are we doing this? We want to instill lifelong learning in our students. I am a lifelong learner. Educators should be lifelong learners, because if you're a lifelong learner, your students will see you growing, because you're going to grow. You're going to keep on learning things. I don't care if it's you go to webinars, you go to professional development workshops, you read books, that are educators, and maybe they've been educators for a long time. They have a lot of insights and strategies and motivation for you. That's something that we want to do. So as we're lifelong learners, we want to stay curious, remain curious. I remember as a child, I don't know how many stories I'm going to have if I keep on going with these bullet points. I have a story for everything. I don't want to keep telling stories, but that is how we could recognize what it is we're doing. So, my mother used to buy. I remember being 5. Before 5, I don't remember at all. Right? Could have been, I don't know, but I know when I was 5, my mother used to had this set of World Book encyclopedias. Had the children's part of it. Forgot what that's, childcraft, and then the whole World Book Encyclopedia from A to Z, and then the childcraft ones. I read every one of those by, I don't know. Then she went and got the Funkin' Wagner ones that you got from the grocery store. You buy some dishes or something, and you get the encyclopedias. I don't remember, but I had all those. I read every single word in those books, in those encyclopedias. Maybe that's why I am who I am, because of the fact that I did that. I read every single word, every animal that was in there, every person, every whatever. I don't exactly remember what a World Book looks like, what's inside of it. I know it's a encyclopedia. It's like Wikipedia, but you can see every page from A to Z. So it may start with aardvark or something, whatever, and it showed the picture of that and told you what it was, where it lived. So I did that through every book. It may have John Adams or something in there, and I read it, and I did it. So that curiosity back then is still in me today, which is amazing, because a lot of people used to like reading when they were children, but then they don't want to read now. I still, depending on what I'm reading, but I read inspiration, motivation, I read self-help, I read strategies, all this from books from experts, mostly in their field. So just embrace that, that learning journey, that we are in constant growth as teachers. You know, that is just who we are. Society changes, so do teaching methods, technologies, and the needs of who? Our students. Our students are so needy. So we have to continue to grow so that we can understand what they need. If we have to continue to read so we can understand what's happening out in society that we need to teach our students, and we can't go, oh, I don't use this because I'd rather write it on paper. I don't use this because I no, you have to grow with the times. Period. There's nothing else. So teaching is not just about imparting knowledge, but also about growing with it. I don't know who said that, but that is a quote. It's not just about imparting knowledge, but also about growing with it. And growing with that knowledge. If you have knowledge, it doesn't cause you to grow. What's the sense of having that knowledge? So that's just something. And again, like I said before, celebrate small victories in the classroom. Small victories. Your students got in line and everybody was quiet facing the front. That's a victory. I don't know about you, but I teach second grade. Second grade, that's a victory. It's so funny because my grandson, now he's in middle school for the first time. He's sixth grade. And so I would have thought about what he said. He said, I can't believe I don't have to stand in line and be quiet in the hallway. So it just was something. So now we spend all this time getting our students quiet in the hallway, all this stuff, right? Making sure they can walk quietly in the hallway where other people are learning. Maybe the difference is in elementary, not everybody is moving when you're moving, because the first graders may go to special, for second graders may go to lunch or whatever. So you do have to be quiet when people are learning. In the middle school, everybody changes with the bell, so everybody's in the hallway. And that was just something I would have never thought about. So my small win is students getting in line quietly. That's a win for me, you know. So I don't know how you appreciate. I just think we need to appreciate those moments. Just appreciate them. Again, that same we are, oh, this is something. We are change makers. We are catalysts for change in society. You have to understand, every person who knows something, a teacher taught them. Think about that. Every person who learned how to read, somebody taught them. I don't care if it was their parent. A teacher taught them. People say they were self-made, they taught themselves to read. Could happen. I don't know how that happens by osmosis. They're learning somewhere. They just can't tell me they just picked up a book and they start reading it. How do they know the letters? How do they know how the letters are formed? They were learning. Probably their parent read to them all the time and they pointed to the words. Probably they watched Sesame Street. Probably they watched a show on TV. I know there's other stuff now besides Sesame Street, but things like that. I can't imagine that somebody didn't teach them. There's no way, that you could just learn by osmosis. I don't know. You could learn some things, but not to read. I know people are going to say, no, my child taught himself to read. No, you provided different things for them to learn how to read. I promise you that. But that's not a point to argue. Again, I wanted to say I have go back to that. I said that. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything about staying curious. Stay curious about new teaching strategies. We must stay abreast of new strategies in teaching, in technology, in research, in the fields of education. We have to remain curious because that's how we learn. That's how our students learn. We don't want to learn anything new. We just want to go. Even if we are older, seasoned educators, you still have to learn more. You still have to. You can't just say, I'm going to spend the next 3 years with what I know. Don't teach me anything else. No, I don't want to do that. Because society is changing. Your students are changing. You have to have something, a new way to teach them. Also, about, let me see. How, I was going to see if learning something new impacted my teaching. Yeah. Just say, and this is something so simple. We have a new way to teach math. They used to say years ago that new math. but we're teaching a way where it breaks down everything in a way that we didn't learn it before. We had to put everything in one little box and borrowing, carry, and all of that stuff, and then add it right there. Now they show you why you do that and how you do it in another spot, or partial sums and things like that. Even though we did it up here, but now you put it on the bottom, then you add it and you just have it. And it's amazing. I watched a student last year, and she was doing the partial sums. We were kind of past the partial sums, and she wrote so neat and so perfect. She was doing her math, and I was like, but what are you doing? Right? In my head, because she was doing too much. She was doing too much, right? She wasn't doing too much. She was doing exactly what I told her. Exactly what I told her. And she just liked that method better because she got all the answers right. So she did the partial sums. She did it. But because I taught her learn the new way to do it. Because when you are carrying that one up there, you can get it mixed up and you don't know where it belongs. The kids get kind of, they put it on the top and add it instead. That make that being a 14 or whatever it is. I'm trying to think, how did that go? How does that go? Oh, you just add it up there, that makes 110. But if you're subtracting, when you make 10 ones, all that, you could put it wrong. It just is a lot. But because of the way I learned how to do the new math, I'm going to say the math that breaks it down, the lesson, it just was better. It was something that I was able to help my students learn, and then they excelled at it. Also, the idea of growth mindset for educators. Mistakes or challenges are not setbacks, but learning opportunities. Remember, we always want to grow. We want to have that in our minds. No matter what challenge I have, I'm going to grow from it. No matter what, I'm going to grow from it. Period. Let me see. It I have that. So, we have mistakes and challenges. They're not setbacks, they are learning opportunities. I have so many students, 2 classes. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's elementary school. You're supposed to have 1 class, right? So I have 2 classes, and the students were coming in today, and I didn't know a few of their names, and I'm like, But that was the opportunity for me to learn their name for real, because now tomorrow come in, I'm not going to have a problem knowing their names. Not going to have that problem. So that's just something. That's just something that makes learning easy. That as a growth mindset, I'm going to learn more today than I knew yesterday. And remember, growth is a lifelong journey. It's not you learn something today and then you're good. Okay, I learned this, I grew, because now I can do that new math, right? I grew. But no, you're going to always learn something, continuously learning. And your students are inspired by you learning, because they can sense how happy you are with this new stuff. They can sense how happy you are with your teaching them. Absolutely can sense what you're doing. They could sense if you're loving what it is. So also just think about the big picture. Every day in the classroom is an opportunity to impact the lives and contribute to a better society. What we're doing. We're teaching students. We're educating students. The more education a student has, the less likely they are to go to prison or to be homeless or jobless. I didn't say that it can't happen, but it's less likely to happen the more education a person has, because you can learn something and then you have that to fall back on. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm uneducated, I can't read, I can't spell, me and math never got along. What's going to happen to you in society? It just won't mesh. There's going to be problems. I remember I heard a statistic about if a student is not reading fluently by the 4th grade, the likelihood of them going to jail is higher. And so that's the same thing opposite of that I just said. If your students are educated, they're more likely to be a productive citizen in society and to do whatever it is they're called to do. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. So that's just something that you're looking at the big picture again. You're teaching our students, where to look for this is, I'm not telling you what to look for, but you need to find the answer to this. Maybe you go on the internet, maybe you look in your math book, maybe you ask a friend, see what you come up together. We're not just giving them information to like we used to get. Now we're teaching them how to learn, how to be lifelong learners. So again, we have many challenges that we face. Educators face challenges. That's no question, right? From heavy workloads to emotional labor. We are tired. We get tired just because of using our brain like that. Your brain can get tired. That's why you have to take brain breaks and you have to rest. But that work that we do is, everybody should understand that it's essential and transformative. I say transformative, I can prove it. Just say you're a kindergarten teacher. Your students come and they know no letters. By June, they're transforming to a new person because they know letters. They can spell things now, right? You get to first grade, second grade, your students couldn't read when they came in. Transformed into readers, right? They thought they couldn't do some things and now they can. They are transformed. They're new. I promise you they're new. They're not even the same person that came into you in September or August, whenever your school year starts. So just take pride in the long-term changes you are inspiring. Even if they don't always see, even if you don't always see the result right away, because you may not. I remember I keep telling this story a few years ago. I was so excited. My class is going to do this, my class is going to do that. So my class excelled, really. They really did. And then I got to one student and he wasn't reading well. And I'm like, man, you messing up my SGO, my student growth objectives, right? I just don't understand what happened. Like, how didn't he move at all? So a month later, this was in May. In April, I had to get all my stuff in order and see who grew and who didn't, how far did they grow, all that, right? This little boy in May, he was reading. I said, what? Where you been all this time? What you been doing? It just, something clicked. And then it happened. He was reading. He was a reader. Transformative. Again, transformative. So I didn't see the results for him right away. I didn't see the results for hardly anybody. Some people who worked really hard. I remember I had one little boy. He was determined he was going to read because he said, I can read better than that. He didn't know English. And he used to be frustrated because I would speak too fast. And then he learned English. So, he just excelled pretty fast. So again, you may not always see the immediate results. You may not. But every lesson, every connection, every moment you spend with your students makes a lasting difference. You are an example of those lasting differences. If you're an educator, somebody made a difference. You may not even remember your teachers, because I don't remember my teacher. I remember a few, but not as far as them giving me a life lesson. Like, oh, I learned that from my teacher and I never forgot. I don't have those stories. But they were instilling things over and over me. They taught me how to read in kindergarten. They taught me how to read in first grade even better. So in third grade, they taught me multiplication. Multiplication was it. They told me how to learn it fast, and I did. And now I can teach that. I can teach a timetable, a group, a day to students. Sometimes I could teach two, and then I come back to them and they get it because I show them how to do it. Like 9s, 5s, 4s, whatever. In one day, we're gonna learn this today in this hour or hour and a half, however long I have with them. So that is something that is making a lasting impression, lasting difference. So just remember to keep pushing with passion and purpose. Passion and purpose, because you have a purpose. You are transforming people in society. We are putting people out in society with new skills. That is something awesome. That is something to be proud of. I'm excited about that. So success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Don't be upset because you didn't see anything today, but you're going to look back like I did in May, and I saw this new person, this reader. I saw this reader. So progress comes in small, everyday victories rather than huge, huge leaps. Think about that. Think about that. So a student is mastering a new skill, or a moment of harmony, are key to long-term successes. Those are small wins, right? If they master a new skill, then they learn and they can utilize it. And then the next, they learn another skill and they build upon it. Think about this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. So just reflect on your wins. Celebrate your wins. So celebrate your students' wins. Be happy for them. I give prizes. Like, you're paying attention. You got that? Oh my goodness. How did you get that answer? That's what I do. And I'm excited about it. They're smiling. I'm smiling. Everybody's smiling. This is cool what we're doing here. So don't forget, do not forget that we have, I don't know, take that back up. I said it like you know what I'm talking about. Also remember that every student is a unique opportunity. Every child can learn, just not the same day or the same way. That is by George Evans. So teach the way the child learns, so see potential in every student, even when others don't see that, see it. And your energy, this is, oh my goodness, your energy is contagious. You come in the classroom all drab and hating your job and don't want to be there, all that stuff, right? Guess what? The students feel that. They get that energy, and they get that energy from you. You're frustrated. You're not happy with what's happening. They're like, they feel that. But if you're excited to learn and excited to teach them, they can feel that too. And they want to please us. So that is cool. So just be contagious. Education is not the filling of a pail. You're not just filling up the students' heads, but it's but lighting of a fire, right? So you're igniting a fire, and they're going to want to learn this, then they're going to want to learn some more and some more and some more. That's just what it is, right? So remember again that you are making lasting impressions, and that is so true. And so I want to leave you with the message that you are a catalyst for change in society. We are making difference. We are making changes. We are transforming. Everything we do is essential. So if you want to, this is what I would like for people to do right now, is to write in a win that you had in your classroom in education. Just a win, one win. Put it in the notes in the comment section. I will respond to it. Put it in there and just say, this is how I win. This is how I win. This is what I've done. This is a small win that I have, right? Small win. Give me that. And then let's see where we go from there. I'm excited again. This is Ronnette Branham with Empowered Educators. We are committed to creating a vibrant, supportive community for educators, especially those with the foundation in faith. You don't have to be, because, life is life. We are living. We all are teachers. We're educators, and this is what we do. So just be excited about what you do. Be excited. So our mission is to create a global community of educators. Let me find where I have that at. I don't even know. Of educators who are equipped, supported, and inspired to transform classrooms into spaces of growth and innovation, fostering the success of every student while prioritizing educator wellness and professionalism, right? Professional development. So, that's my Cash App. That's so cool. My link tree. Go to that link tree, and you can find me anywhere. Type in Ronnette Branham. You can find me social media. Google my name. Thank you, and have a great day.